What is going on, my fellow horror friends and fanatics? It is your boy, Woodsboro Fanatic, aka Austin, and we are back with another video. Um, as you can see, the setup looks a little different. Told you guys we're working, we're improving, and yeah, we're gonna capitalize on this. We're gonna make this as good as possible. Um, and yeah, today we got ourselves a Scream 6 spoiler review. Yes, spoiler review. So, for those who have seen the movie, we will be discussing spoilers, things that have happened. Um, for those who haven't seen the movie, I would recommend stopping on this video now. This is your heads up. Go check out the movie and then tune back in when you're done watching. Otherwise, if you're just looking to come support, that's cool too. You know, glad to have you here. Um, just for kind of a what's to come, so to speak. Um, so for the next 2 weeks, the channel will probably be mostly Scream content, just because the movie is fresh. So I want to capitalize on all that content while I can. I plan on making a Scream killers ranking all the killers from the Scream franchise. I also plan on ranking the opening kills, ranking the movies. So yeah, we got a lot, man. We got a lot of content coming for you guys, and yeah, I can't wait. So, just so you guys know, so you guys aren't like, what is he looking at? I did write a outline for this video, just things I want to talk about because this movie has so much to unpack. In my spoiler-free review, the last video I posted, I was treading very lightly, and it was so hard for me to speak on some of the things. So hard for me not to speak on some of the things I really wanted to talk to you guys about. So, I'm really excited to get this one going. And, yeah, so to just kick things off, we'll start out with a plot overview. This one is following our main four from the last movie, aka the core four. We have Melissa Barrera as Sam Carpenter, Jenna Ortega as Tara Carpenter. We have Jasmine Savoy Brown as Mindy Meeks Martin, and then we have Mason Gooding as Chad Meeks Martin. And it is following the events from Scream 5. It's about a year later. We got the four of them still recovering from the events, and they are now heading to New York for college. Well, at least Chad, Mindy, and Tara. They're going to college, and then Sam kind of tagged along just to look out for her sister. Just that protective instinct. Obviously, following everything that had happened, she would want to be around her side. So, yeah, that's kind of just a quick plot overview. But yeah, to jump right into it, the first thing I wanted to discuss, opening sequence. I don't think this is a stretch because I've talked to a lot of people. And I do want to say I did rewatch this movie. I went on Tuesday to rewatch it. Me and my buddy went, and we both agreed that on second watch, this movie is even better than it was the first time. So, yeah, I mean, I get caught up sometimes just because, like, thinking about how good this movie was to me. Like, this seriously, as a Scream fan, was everything I was looking for in a movie. And yeah, this was kind of like a love letter to the fans, so to speak. I thought it was fucking amazing. But yeah, opening sequence. So we have Samara Weaving, talented actress. We have her playing a professor for Blackmore University, which is where our main characters attend college. And I think a lot of us in the Scream community kind of figured that Samara Weaving would be included in the opening sequence. Whether or not it was her being killed, was still to be determined. But I think due to the marketing, we've seen a few shots of her, but the few shots we did see, she was it was kind of like the same thing every time. That alley in the yellow dress, and You know, anyone who's a real Scream fanatic can kind of put two and two together just based off certain clips. And yeah, I think a lot of us kind of figured she wasn't gonna make it very far throughout the movie, which sucks because Samara Weaving is a very, very talented actress. For those of you who don't know, check her out in Ready or Not, dude. She's awesome. Final girl energy on point. So yeah, I mean, she definitely could have, you know, lasted in this movie, I think, but it was also a good way to start off with a bang. You know, it reminds me of you know, Drew Barrymore getting killed off in the first sequence of Scream One. You know, but yeah, so we start off with her, the professor, and she is, I believe she's at a bar or something. I don't know. She's out, you know, it's later at night, and she is talking to what looks like to be a Tinder date, and he calls her on the phone and he tells her, you know, he's looking for her. He doesn't know where the bar is, blah blah blah. So she goes outside to kind of give him directions and whatnot, and you know, man, there's so like, dude, the one-liners in here are amazing. During the conversation, Samara Weaving, she tells the man, man, what is, I forget what the date's name is. I'm not really sure that's important, but she tells the date, you know, there's like a red sign or something red, and you know, and he says, I'm not seeing anything red, blah, blah, blah. And then a little bit on later on in the conversation, you know, he starts to say, oh, it looks like somebody's following me. You know, and he's like, oh, he's chasing me, blah blah blah, and she can't see what's going on. All she can hear is what's going on through the phone. So she runs into the alley that's right in front of her to try to get a better look, and then that's when you kind of hear like the voice recording kick on, and dude, the sound of that voice recording is super dope. It's like a snapshot type of thing, but you can hear it, and then instantly just goes into the Ghostface voice, and you already know, oh man, here it goes. And dude, there was just oh man, this movie did a really good job at captivating you right away. I mean, I was so glued in, I wasn't sure what was gonna happen, you know. And you know, so she's standing there on the phone, he turns into Ghostface, he's taunting her, and then he tells her, you know, how silly of you. I don't know the exact line, but he points out the fact that, you know, she's a professor who teaches a film class, and he points out the fact that she was still dumb enough to walk into the alley alone. And, right after that, he jumps out and attacks her. And let me just say, Samara Weaving, God, for the limited time that she had on the screen, she sold the hell out of her performance, because as soon as Ghostface comes in and stabs her, dude, the scream she lets out is like literally terrifying. And honestly, I mean, I get it, you know, it's New York. They played into the fact that, you know, people aren't listening out there, and there's just so much going on that people aren't really worried about somebody getting freaking gutted in the fucking alley. But dude, the way she was screaming was just nuts. I was really surprised nobody heard her, but or even noticed. And like I said, the one-liners from Ghostface are brutal. I mean, he stabs her, and you know, just keeps gutting her over and over and over viciously. And then right before he lets out that like final slash, he says, "Now I see something red," and you know that. Oh my god, this shit is amazing. Like, the one-liners in this were chef's kiss. Like, I cannot emphasize that enough. Roger L. Jackson was different. I was gonna save this for later on in the video, but I'll say it now. Roger L. Jackson deserves his flowers. This is my time to give him his recognition. For those who don't know who Roger L. Jackson is, he is the one who plays the voice of Ghostface. Now, not to be confused, movie script wise, yes, the killers who you see, or the killers who get revealed, those are the ones who are talking on the phone, but it's always being played by Roger L. Jackson's voice. That's why if you ever look back on the previous Scream movies, the voice always sounds the same. It's Roger L. Jackson. But dude, he was amazing in this one. And so yeah, he hits her with the "Now I see something red" and slashes her. And for people who are familiar with the Scream movies, A lot of us figured right after that final, that's when the title sequence comes up, Scream 6, blah. But he slices her and he kind of just sits there. And me as a viewer, like, I really wish I could have recorded my reaction in the theater, because I was lost, and then I was shocked, and then I was made, like, there was so much going on. But he kind of sits there, and he kneels down and he looks at her, and then the way he, like, tilts his head, and I'm like, wait, is he about to? And then he literally fucking unmasks himself, and I'm like, holy shit, like, what is going on right now? And I think a lot of us in the theater are thinking, okay, this is the first time we're ever gonna see a Scream movie from the killer's point of view, which is, like, fucking nuts. You know, they were already hinting at something different, so we're like, okay, maybe that's it. We see Jason going in the alley, and he fucking changes into his regular clothes, and he goes back out on the streets, and he walks, and he literally walks right past one of our main characters, Tara, and they have a conversation about a party later. But it's like, as a viewer and a Scream fanatic, I was just amazed at what I was seeing. And I knew, like, because we hadn't seen the Scream title yet, like, it didn't hit me until he gets into the apartment after talking to Tara, where I'm like, oh shit, this is still the opening sequence. So I'm like 100% invested, like, and this shit is like a dream come true at this point. And yeah, so he goes in and he's calls his boyfriend on the phone. Now the plan was for him and his boyfriend, it's revealed that they were planning to finish Richie's movie from the last film, and they wanted to kill off the main cast, or the core four, so to speak. And so what he believes is to be Greg actually turns out to be Ghostface, the real Ghostface on the phone. And he leads him to this game of hot and cold, acting as if he's Greg, telling him, well, come find me. And you know, once he gets to the fridge, you know, once he gets to the fridge, you know, Ghostface is just toying with him at this point. He's like, you're on fire. He opens the fridge and he sees his boyfriend or friend, other killer that was supposed to be on this plan. He sees his boyfriend fucking dismembered in the fridge, you know, head, body parts, like, all over. And as he turns around, Ghostface is right there, and he fucking just guts him, and you see the intestines coming out, and right there you really get a feel of what type of movie this is gonna be. And one thing I want to speak on this whole sequence, one thing I loved about this was the fact that this was the first. So when Jason gets back in the house after killing and talking to Tara, he gets back in the house. There's two things I really love. First of all, when he gets in the house, on the TV, Friday the 13th, Jason Takes Manhattan is playing. And that's super fucking meta. Like, you know, them being in New York, that was just awesome. I loved that. And then one thing I really loved that was different, when he's on the phone, Greg, or at least who he thinks is Greg, is telling him to describe what it was like, you know, and to kill the professor. And this was the first time ever we have actually gotten like a real, like, in-depth kind of look at what the killers feel, you know, when they're killing somebody. And he talks about, you know, how she felt as if she was an animal. You know, she was human at first, but the more and more he would stab her, she felt like an animal until she was just a piece of meat. And then so once Jason gets attacked by the real Ghostface and he's getting gutted, and the intestines come out, he's in shock. And Ghostface, like, tilts his head and looks at him and he says, do you feel like an animal now, Jason? But, like, those are the one-liners that I love. It's so sinister, and it adds to, like, this. Like I said, this is the first time since the very first Scream movie that Ghostface actually feels scary. And a lot of that has to do with just the dialogue. Like, he's a fucking menace in this one. And the last one line, he gives one last good one-liner after that. You know, Jason's bleeding out, and he says, but what about our movie? And then Ghostface looks at him and he says, who gives a fuck about the movies? And he slashes him, and then the title card comes up. Wow. I'm sitting in the seat in the theater, and I'm thinking to myself, this is the greatest opening of all time, like, in any fucking movie I've ever seen. Now I'm gonna give you guys a ranking video later on, the next couple days on the openings for the Scream movies because they're all good. But this one, whew, this one is up there. Let me tell you, it is up there for sure. So and yeah, I just shout out to them for really emphasizing the fact that this one was gonna be different. Like real shit, that was awesome. Um, and then we get after this after the title shot, we get a beautiful shot of we get a beautiful shot of New York, and that's something else I want to talk about. The cinematography in this was really, really nice. If I'm not mistaken, they actually shot a lot of this movie in Montreal, Canada, which is super fucking awesome when you look at the movie. Like, but they captured the essence of New York perfectly. I do believe I've watched a few interviews, and I do believe the creators and directors said there were a few shots in New York, but most of the filming took place in Canada. But the cinematography was awesome. Like the shots they were getting was really, really nice, and yeah, they just captured that New York feel, and they did a really good job of that. But yeah, something else I wanted to talk about, the soundtrack and the score. Soundtrack for this was pretty good. I would say that there was just a slight part of me that wished there was a bit more of like the old Scream themes that we would get, ones that we're familiar with. But the soundtrack was pretty good. I do like that they threw in. I don't know if anyone caught it, but there's a scene between Gale and Sam where Gale asks Sam, like, where's your mother been, blah, 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 and, Sam kind of says, she's not in our life anymore, it's just me and Tara, and then Gale kind of gives this speech about, being alone in the world until you meet someone, and that they have an impact on you and whatnot, and obviously she's talking about Dewey, but as the conversation's going and she starts to say that, we hear Dewey's theme song, the one that we originally were introduced to in Scream 2. We hear it playing in the back while she's talking, and I just thought that was a perfect little touch, a nice little homage to Dewey. And yeah, those are the type of things, like, as a Scream fan, like, those are the little things that I pay attention to, and those are the things I appreciate the most. That's really what makes the movie for me, is their attention to detail and the things, their way of just kind of paying respect to the other movies in the franchise, I always loved that. The use of Red Right Hand, awesome. Anyone who knows Red Right Hand, that's a classic. They use that really well. That always just has that, once you hear that come on, it just has that Woodsboro feel. Wherever they're at, it captures, that Scream 1 feeling when we were first introduced to the song. So that was really good. I appreciated that. The use of Sam as a red herring. Me and my buddies talked about it coming into the movie. We did believe, because of what they hinted at in the last movie with her going fucking psycho on Richie in the last 5 minutes of that movie. There was some hints that, okay, maybe, she might fucking turn and, be Ghostface herself. So I think they played on that really well in this movie. They did a good job of using her as a red herring, but also allowing us to still feel as though she's innocent in a way, like she's being victimized throughout all this. And I guess I can put this all into one. I guess we'll talk about it. The way they wrote Sam in this movie was fucking phenomenal. Like I said in my last video, Sam got a lot of shade. Melissa Barrera, she got a lot of shade for her performance in Scream 5. A lot of people said she was wooden, hollow, as if she didn't really know how to act. But I didn't feel that too much. I just thought the script was kind of written poorly in some aspects of the movie. But dude, the character development for this woman and this character in this movie was fucking phenomenal, and her performance was amazing. Without a doubt, easily, like, she's easily becoming one of my favorite final girls. I will have a video about that eventually too. But dude, she's awesome. Shout out to Melissa Barrera, awesome fucking job in this movie. Core four, core four, as well as Sam. The rest of the core four are the standouts of this movie. Um, the writers did an excellent job at really, really helping us become invested in these characters. I think a problem with Scream Five was as good as the performances were, we just didn't get enough from the characters in terms of their development or any story that they had. So it was hard to kind of become invested. But with this one, I mean, the chemistry between these four is perfect. They've really built a bond over what happened in the fifth film, and you know, it's just like it's really awesome to see. It's almost like it when they're on screen, it almost seems like it's a real life bond, which I'm sure it is. I'm sure they've grown to become friends, throughout filming and whatnot. But yeah, the chemistry was fucking awesome. They are all four of them absolutely killed this movie. No pun intended. Chad, my favorite. Mason Gooding is amazing. Um, Easily becoming one of my favorites in the Scream franchise in terms of characters. He's becoming what a lot of people think is the new Dewey. The way he just kind of captures that protector role, and dude, oh my god, he's one of the first people that really gave Ghostface a good fight. I mean, he was fucking him up in this movie, and I appreciated that because, looking at Chad, that's what you would expect from him. He's not gonna go down easy, and I really appreciated that they allowed us to see that fight in him. It was fucking awesome, and I'll talk about Chad a little bit more later. Obviously, there's an elephant in the room with him, so I'll bring that up later. But yeah, the core four was awesome. And then as for more performances, Gail, as always, franchise character. You know what she's gonna bring to the table. Me personally, as good as her performance was, and this isn't a knock on her. This isn't a knock on the character even. But as good as her performance was, the role of Gail really wasn't needed in this movie. I mean, other than her finding the shrine, which I guess you could say was pretty essential to the whole mystery element. Her being in the movie really didn't advance the plot. We got a great freaking chase scene out of it, and what we thought was a sure death. Just a really, really suspenseful moment. One of the best moments in the franchise, I think. And I'm thankful for that, Like I said, she didn't need to be in this movie, but hell, I'm not complaining that she was. We could always use some Gail, but that's that, and like I said, that's more of a testament to how strong the story was for the rest of the characters, specifically the core four. But like I said, it's always good to have some legacy characters in there, just to have that bit of a nostalgia. I'll never complain with that at all. But yeah, shout out to Courtney Cox. Her attack scene. Oh, I cannot forget this, guys. For those who watched the movie, Gail's attack scene in her apartment. We are later revealed to find out that Quinn was the one who attacked her, or so she says. I am telling you this now. We can come back to this a year from now, or whenever the truth is truly revealed. Quinn did not attack Gail in her apartment. That was not Quinn. I don't know if do I really want to get it? All right, let's get into it. There is no way, and this is kind of the same problem that people have with Scream 5 in the Dewey death sequence. There is no way, and no offense to Liliana Liberato, who plays Quinn, no offense to the character, but there is no way that a girl who is maybe 140 pounds soaking wet is going to be able to take out Brooks, which was Gail's boyfriend, the big buff black guy, throw him through some glass, and then take on Gail, who is a fucking menace. I mean, Gail's up there with Sydney in terms of, not going down without a fight. I don't see that. They said Amber killed Dewey. This is playing into my theory. Me personally, listen to this with your ears open. Stu is alive, people. Stu Macher from the original Scream movie, the second killer, the accomplice to Billy Loomis, is still alive. I firmly believe he was the one who attacked Gail, and I firmly believe he was the one who killed Dewey. I believe they are setting us up for a Stu Macher return slash reveal in the next movie, or maybe the eighth film. Not sure. It depends on the direction they go with it. Um, I believe they're hinting at this reveal where find out he was the one who was behind the attacks on the legacy characters. And I do believe we will find out that he has been running this whole thing from behind the scenes. Not sure where he's hiding. We'll get into that theory in a different video. But like I said, I do believe that he had something to do with the attacks of the legacy characters. And like I said, they're playing into this theory. We get that conversation with Mindy and Kirby in the shrine sequence where Mindy sits in front of the TV that supposedly killed Stu, and that's what Kirby comes down and says. She says, "There's the TV that killed Stu Macher," and then Mindy says, "Well, I mean, that is if you think he's dead." And that kind of goes into my next point, which is the commentary on the horror genre and the commentary on the theories that they know people in the Scream community are having. It's just amazing. Like, this is, dude, seriously, this was a chef's kiss to me, just because there was a lot of times throughout this movie where they commented on the theories that me, as well as hundreds of other people that love these movies, have talked about. And it's a way of showing that they're aware. They're definitely aware, and I appreciate that. This movie could have used more deaths, definitely. I think that's one downfall to it. Obviously, not every movie's perfect, and I think that's one of the things that doesn't necessarily make this perfect. But when you put it into perspective, this movie was more about building the chemistry between these characters and allowing us to see some character development. So for the next installment of the franchise, when they kill one of these people off, we'll really feel it. I think that was the problem with this one. I think they felt as if we weren't invested enough into these characters, so they weren't ready to pull the trigger, which is completely understandable. I think it worked out for the better. In terms of killing main characters, I thought they made a really bold. When I was watching Chad's sequence, I thought he was a goner. My friends will tell you, I sunk to the bottom of my seat when I was watching that, because I really didn't want Chad to die. That was one person coming into this film who I really wanted to see make it out. So when I thought they pulled that trigger, needless to say, I was hurt. I was extremely hurt. But then we got them rolling out at the end, and it saved everything for me. But yeah, so I definitely understand why they didn't pull the trigger, and I think it worked out for the better, for sure. Let's talk about some specific scenes. Bodega scene, ladder scene, train scene. These are probably easily the three most suspenseful scenes of the whole movie. God, the ladder scene. The ladder scene was fucking nuts, and I just want to give a shout out to the girl who plays Anika. Oh wow, I'm sorry, I'm blanking right now. I'll come back to that later. But the girl who played Anika, great job. I think she was one of the standout for the supporting cast. She absolutely killed it with the limited time that she had got, and you felt so bad for her, seeing what was happening, and that scene between, just really, I don't know, the dynamic between her and Mindy was really felt, especially in that last scene. I think they both killed it, just in terms of their acting and their performances. Really had the audience feeling for both of them. But I'll be honest, I didn't see that coming. I mean, we all seen the ladder. in the trailers, you know, we figured it'd be, we'd figured it'd be, you know, someone would be shaking it, and I thought, yeah, probably somebody would fall, but I didn't. The way, oh my god, the head to the trash, that was nuts. I mean, that was just a oh my god moment in the theaters where like, oh yeah, and even on second watch, it was still pretty fucking bad. That's gonna go down as one of the most iconic kills. So, shout out to you, Anika, for leaving a mark on the Scream franchise. You killed it. Performance was amazing. Um, Honestly, though, my favorite part of that about that whole sequence, seriously, was is something about I don't know how to explain why it's my favorite, but when Danny's across, when Danny's across, um, when he's in his apartment, he's looking through the window, and he sees Ghostface standing in Quinn's room, and he's trying to get their attention. You know, he's banging on the windows and whatnot, and the Ghostface is kind of just looking at him, you know, toying with him. There is something so terrifying about that scene, but I love it. I mean, we need more scenes like that in Scream. Like that, the intensity was just fucking amazing. I loved it. And the boyfriend Danny, played by Josh Segarra, he killed it. That dude, I loved him for real. There wasn't one bad performance in this movie. Seriously, um, they did a great job of casting, and I think it just felt like everybody in this movie was like really passionate about what they were putting on screen, and I appreciated that. I loved everyone's performance. Um, the bodega scene was hella intense. I think it was even more intense than anyone anticipated. Seeing it in the trailer so many times, I was like, oh, okay, well, but the lead up to it was awesome. You know, Tara and Sam are outside walking, and this is the first time we see Sam get the call from Richie's number, and you know, she picks up the phone and she tells him, like, you know, you don't want to fuck with us. Like, the last two people that tried to do this, you know, ended up dead. And, you know, out of nowhere, fucking Ghostface comes and tries to grab Tara. But it's like, holy shit. Like, in the middle of the street, like, I mean, I get it's nighttime, but fuck. Like, it was nuts. And then it leads you into them running into the bodega. And I just loved how they built into that. And like I said, it was way more intense than I had thought. Like, we're in the theater, and you know, there's a little bit of noise going on. You know, the theater's packed, so there's gonna be noise. But I promise you, as soon as Ghostface fucking starts walking around those shelves, you know, with the gun looking for them, the whole fucking theater went tense and quiet, because that scene was very suspenseful. I loved it. The train scene with Mindy getting attacked, that was genuinely scary. Like I said, this is one of the first times, well, this is the first time since the first film that Ghostface has felt scary. And that scene was very scary. Just everything about it, you know, the fact that she's being attacked and everyone around her isn't noticing, or even the build up to it where she's seeing every Ghostface, but then she finally, like the one that's just kind of, you know, sitting down like this, and then turns its head at her, and like the way Ethan's like just kind of ominously like staring at her, you know, throughout the whole thing. You know, you're not sure, like, okay, is he like is he looking out for her, or what's up with him? And dude, that scene was just really, really fucking good. Oh man, I could go on and on about this movie because there was so much to love about it. Seriously. The shrine scene was easily one of my favorites as well. I like the fact that we get to see each character kind of go around and look at all the items that are in the shrine, and they all seem to have some sort of personal connection to it. I love that. Me personally, as a fan, I fucking marked out when Mindy sees Randy's shirt from the TV video store that he worked at. Oh, I fucking love that. And that's what I'm saying. Like, what other franchise is doing shit like this? Like, seriously, you got to give Scream its props where it's due, because I mean, the shit's just awesome. I really
I thought it was awesome to see Kirby's knife. Well, not Kirby's knife, but Charlie's knife, the one that actually stabbed her. I thought that was really interesting to see. And then that little moment that Sam has when she walks in there and she touches the mat, she touches the case of Billy's, and she's having that conversation. And then Tara like comes in and she's like, "What are you doing?" That I thought was a subtle. Um, it could be a subtle hint at something, maybe subliminal at what's to come in the future. But I thought that was interesting. That was definitely a scene to pay attention to. And then a little bit more about the shrine. The conversation between Tara and Kirby. After Tara kind of storms out and says, why does she have to be a part of this? Like this isn't her, blah, blah, blah. Kirby goes to talk to her, and Tara kind of asks her, how she got over all this and whatnot. And there's where we get just a tad bit about what happened to Kirby in Scream 4, where she kind of tells us that she actually died for 4 minutes before coming back to life. I thought that was really interesting to hear. I was a bit disappointed. I thought they were going to just give us a tad bit more as to like what actually happened, when she did come to, or when she realized she was alive, like did she crawl out of there? Did somebody come get her? Like I just wanted just a little bit more detail about what had happened in that situation. But nonetheless, it was still really good. I talked a little bit about the supporting cast already. Like I said, they were awesome. The handling of Sydney's departure, this was something I was extremely worried about coming into the movie. For those who didn't know, going into the movie, Sydney Prescott was not going to be in it. Neve Campbell, she was, I don't know the full details of the story, so I won't get too much into it, but she felt she was undercut on the offer that she wanted for the new movie, so she decided to opt out, which was very unfortunate. I think all the diehard Scream fans were disappointed to hear that she wasn't going to be in this one. Also very skeptical, very nervous to see how it was going to turn out. Nonetheless, I thought it was great. Once I seen the trailers, I kind of knew that it was going to be good. My only question was, how are they going to handle her departure? Were they going to give us a justifiable reason as to why Sydney wasn't in the movie? The one thing I didn't want was for them to kill her off screen, for like one of the characters to find out that she had died and we didn't even get to see that. I thought that would be extreme. I thought that would be an extreme disappointment, but also just disrespect to the character and Sydney, Neve Campbell herself. But yeah, they gave us exactly what I was looking for. Gail tells Tara and Sam Sydney's not going to come around for this one. She decided that she's going to take her, the kids, and Mark someplace safe because she deserves her happy ending. Me personally, I thought that was the perfect way to play it, because with that, there's always room to bring her back if they do work out something in terms of pay and whatnot, negotiation. Like I said, she just moved away, in terms of storyline and script, so at any time under, they could easily write her in to find a reason to have her come back. So I really thought they handled that well. And I guess while we're talking about the handling of Sydney Prescott, we can shout out the Radio Silence crew. This is the team that put together the Scream movies, this one and the last movie. I wanted to shout them out just because I've seen a lot of their interviews, and it's easy to tell that these people really care about the franchise, which is something I appreciate. It's always good, especially after someone like especially after someone like Wes Craven passes off the torch. A legend, a GOAT. It's important that whoever were to take the helm next is someone who actually cares about the franchise and understands how to create a good product and one that makes sense. And that's something that Radio Silence does. So shout out to them. Seriously, I couldn't ask for better people to handle these movies. I really hope they take over with Scream 6 or with Scream 7 as well. I know they're getting extremely busy, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm really hoping we get them. The park scene, I really love the park scene. The park scene is where they are in the van. Detective Bailey is out in the park, and they're basically trying to bait Ghostface into calling Samantha's phone so that Kirby can trace where the call is coming from. She says she can do it in under 15 seconds. But what I love about that scene, in terms of environment, in terms of script, in terms of the feeling, it's very reminiscent. For those who don't know, this movie is, I don't know if it was intended or not, but it's very parallel. It draws a lot of parallels to Scream 2, and that was one of them. This scene feels a lot like the scene where Randy dies, and they're actually sitting in a van, because something like the one that Randy dies in, and Mindy mentions like, broad daylight, that's not very smart. Like, do you guys not understand this is how my uncle died? And I thought that was really nice. I thought it was funny. Mindy always brings it. Like, she always adds this sort of comedic element to her lines, which I love. It's always needed in a scary movie, and it's because she doesn't get a lot screen time. It doesn't feel forced. It's a comedy. It's always like, okay, a little bit every now and then, and I like that. But yeah, I really just like that they continued to nod to Randy. They did it in the last one with the Meeks memorial that they had in their house and whatnot. I really enjoy them continuing to show love to Randy, which is a beloved legacy character. So, let's see. Final act. This one is controversial for many reasons. I think a lot of people felt as though this was a great movie up until the last 30 minutes of the film, where we do get the final act and the killer reveal. Me personally, let me say one thing. I was spoiled on the killers. I found out who the killers were, unfortunately, on Twitter about 3 weeks prior to the movie. I chose to brush it off, though. I figured it was way too early for that to be like actual or accurate, so to speak. So I was like, nah, I'll brush that off. So I didn't really think anything of it. But because I knew when they unmasked, I wasn't surprised. And that's not to take away from the final act. For me, as a diehard Scream fan, these movies aren't about the killer reveals anymore, especially with the radio silence and what they've created with these movies. It's not about the killer reveal anymore. It's about the twists and turns and the developments through the characters that we find out throughout the movie. And I think that's what really propels these and makes these intriguing. So for me, that wasn't really a knock. Like I said, even if I hadn't seen those spoilers, I might have seen it coming. I kind of seen Detective Bailey right away as a suspect, and then Quinn's fake out scene, that just felt too much like a fake out for multiple reasons. Ghostface is standing in her room right behind her. She doesn't notice, and he doesn't attack her. Why not? Probably because she's in on it. And then Ethan, yeah, if you guys seen my prediction videos, I did predict Ethan. He just had that killer look to him. I didn't think he'd be the mastermind. I knew he'd be an accomplice, but I thought he was a good choice for sure. If you were gonna pick anybody from the new cast to be a killer, it definitely should have been him. And I thought Quinn was an excellent choice as well. But the way they did it was actually kind of surprising. I mean, you got first of all, actually, before we even get to that, the lead up to the final act was great. Or the final reveal, I should say. We get a great fight scene between Chad and one of the ghost faces, and then we get the somewhat quick chase scene through the little hallway, really intense. And then right after that, we get a really nice moment where it's Tara and Sam holding down the ghost face while Chad gets the shots off on him, and then Tara gives him a good shot, and I love that. But then, right after that, one of the most iconic, one of the most oh my god moments of the Scream franchise. Right after that, Chad goes in, takes the gumball machine to go slam it on Ghostface. Another one comes out and stabs him. Right then and there, I'm thinking, oh shit. Then they go and they fucking wail off. They're both attacking him at the same time, which It's something we've never seen before in the Scream franchise. We've never seen two Ghostface on one attack. That was something most of the fans have been waiting for. I fucking loved it. As much as I hated that it was Chad, I genuinely thought he was dead right there. Like I said, I sunk to my seat. And right after the stabbings, we get, like I said, one of the most iconic moments in Scream history. We get the double Ghostface stand knife swipe. So fucking dope. I mean, I was creaming my pants in the theater. What can I say? I mean, that was fucking amazing. I hated that I thought Chad was dead, but I thought to myself, well, shit, if he's dead, what a fucking way to go out, because that was iconic. But yeah, and then so yeah, we get to right before we get the reveal, we get that moment of Tara and Sam back to back, and I love that moment because there's so many elements to that moment. There's a sense of fear in Tara. Like, you can tell how genuinely scared she is. Like, this, I mean, that'd be one of the scariest fucking things you've seen in your life. You have two ghost faces that come in at both of you, and but then you got Sam that's like, no, we're good. Like, we've been through this before. Like, toughen up. We got this shit. And then there's like that, I don't know, there's just something in Tara that's like, yes, let's fucking do this. I don't know, there's so many elements in that 3-second shot that you can really break down that makes it so great. But I love that. And then, yeah, we get them attacking, you know, they go fucking, you know, Tara hits with the brick or whatever. And then we get Kirby, who comes out and shoots. She shoots at the ghost. They both run off. Then Detective Bailey comes out. This is where it gets confusing, because a lot of, even my friends, and that's another thing I want to say, the use of Kirby as a red herring, oh my god, fucking amazing. And she killed her role, because I had all of my friends sitting next to me saying, dude, Kirby's the fucking killer. And for me, I was just like, there's no way. Like, although that would be crazy, I'm like, I don't want to see that. I don't, like, it doesn't seem, that's not what I'm seeing coming right now. I'm like, just hold your horses. I think I know what's going on. So we get her coming out with the gun. And, you know, her and Bailey are both pointed at each other. I love the way they do the reveals in these new movies, because it's like, it's so sudden. Like, oh, fuck. Like, so, you know, they're pointed at each other, and we see Ghostface running towards Detective Bailey. Kirby tells him to watch out, and we think she's going to try to shoot at Ghostface. But Bailey, boom, Bailey shoots her. Ghostface stops right there by Bailey. And then that's when we get the unmasking. And I just thought that was super clever. Great way to throw everybody off, especially for everybody who thought it was Kirby. That was awesome. And then, dude, as much as, so look, I really wanted one of the killers to be, and I thought they were leading up to it, I wanted one of the killers to be a returning character. I thought maybe Charlie Walker from Scream 4 would be coming back. I knew for sure it'd be two new players, and then I figured it would be one returning killer, or surviving killer. And while they didn't deliver on that, I wasn't disappointed, because these three killers were amazing, especially once the unmasking comes. Ethan and Quinn are awesome. I really wish we could have gotten more screen time from them. Give us maybe 2 more scenes of them at the end before they get killed, because they were fucking amazing. Quinn, she has that shot of her walking towards Sam, scraping the knife across the railing, and then she kind of smiles and tilts her head with the bloody teeth, you know, like, oh man, that was fucking awesome. And then we got Ethan. Ethan seriously gave me Stu Macher vibes once his unmasking comes. And I actually got shades of that in his dialogue a little bit. You know, Tara's hanging and he's fucking going crazy, and he says, "I've always wanted to stick something in between you, Tara." And that was kind of shades of when Stu is choking Sid in the first one, and he says, I've always had a thing for you, Sid. You know, so like I really got those vibes from him. Jack Champion as Ethan was just fucking amazing. Liliana Liberato. Oh, that's a hard name to say. Liliana Liberato as Quinn was fucking amazing. They were great choices. Their kills were awesome. Um, maybe Quinn not so much because it was just a blow to the head, but I thought just that leading up to it was really good to where even the shot in the head felt impactful. And then we get fucking Tara. Oh man, that's something to talk about. The way she kills Ethan, wow, puts the knife in his mouth and twists it. Oh my god, so fucking brutal. And after she lets it out, she kind of like laughs, but like it's like it's a laugh where it's like, holy shit, that was nuts. But like where she feels exhilarated, but it's also terrifying what she just did. But I also thought that was a subtle hint that maybe there might be more to come. There could be a possible turn where we see her and Sam. Because I've seen a lot of people say, yeah, I can see Sam becoming Ghostface, but what if it's both of them, you know? And what if they just hinted at that in that little scene? That's something to think about. But those two are badass final girls. That's something else I like about these new Scream films is it's kind of they both feel just as important as one another in terms of final girls. Like in the other ones, you always had Gail and Sydney surviving, but you could tell like Sydney was like the sole final girl. Whereas this one, these new ones, it feels like both Sam and Tara are final girls. I respect that. Detective Bailey though, dude, like I said, I love how aware they are of these films. Because like I said, for me, it's not about the killers anymore, and I think for them, it's also not as much as about the killer reveal. Although that's a big element to the movie, they kind of play into the predictability of it. You know, they find out Detective Bailey is the killer. Sam says, "It's you." He laughs and he goes, "Of course it's me." I love that because I mean, of course it's him, you know? Like, I just thought that was fucking awesome. I love how aware they are, and they're not afraid to, you know, put it right in your face, which is, it's bold, but it works. It works. The pacing of this movie feels amazing. It feels perfect. It's 2 hours, but it really doesn't feel like it. It's a roller coaster ride, like, as soon as you sit down from start to finish, but it doesn't feel rushed. It doesn't feel too slow. It all fits the way it should, and the rewatch factor for it is amazing. Like I said, I went back a second time to watch it, and first time I watched it, I rated it a 9.5. And I went with my friend. The second time, but it was the same friend who I went with the first time. When we went out the first time, he rated it a 9. And after second viewing, he came out and he said, yeah, no, this is definitely a 10, dude. He said, like, the fact that we watched it again and it got better says a lot. So the rewatch factor is awesome. This one's going to be in my list of rewatches for years to come. Definitely. I gave Chad his appreciation already. Two Ghosts, I gave that. Oh, their song, dude, the Still Alive song by Demi Lovato fucking goes nuts. Like, and the use of it was crazy. I knew that the marketing was gonna be big for this because this is one of the first times in a while you get like a music video to like a movie. Like, you know, they used to do those every now and then back in the day. But this one was awesome. Like in the actual video, in her music video, she's getting attacked by Ghostface and shit. But dude, the use of it in the fucking movie is so good. Like, as they're, you know, as everybody's recovering from the injuries at the end and they're walking away, you get a really fucking awesome, and I said this is my favorite shot of the whole scene, or the whole movie. You get a really nice overview shot of New York City, the buildings and whatnot, and as you get that shot, as it's going up, the song starts to kick in and then the credits roll. The use of the song is perfect. It's a fucking banger. I loved it. Like, it gives me chills because they just used it really fucking good. And I think the song, like, emulates the movie perfectly. No bullshit. Sam leaving the mask on the floor at the end. that has me conflicted, has me thinking a lot of different things. For most people, they're probably thinking, okay, that's her way of saying, like, she's going to leave this killer mentality in the past. She's got to let that go. She's got to let her and Billy go and, you know, just forget about it. But the more I watched this and the more I thought about it, the killers in the movie were leaving masks after every kill or at the scenes and whatnot. I thought, what if that's a clever, in-your-face, over-your-head type of way to tell us, to hint that she might be the next killer? Like, that was her way of, you know, because, you know, technically she did just kill someone. She killed Detective Bailey, and then she leaves the mask there, kind of like the killers were in the movie. So the more I thought about it, I was like, wow, what if they're hinting at her being the killer? But, like, there's a lot to think about with that, so, you know, that has me conflicted for sure, definitely. And let's see. Oh, the post-credit scene. Okay, so going into the movie, I was reading reviews. Everyone said, make sure you stay for the post-credit scene. Like, you have to. It was heavily emphasized that it needed to be a priority. Me personally, I was fucking bugging out. Like, as a fan, I'm like, wow, we've never gotten a fucking post-credit scene ever in Scream history. I can't wait. I personally thought it was going to be, I thought it was going to be like a hint or like something that tells us Sid would be back for the Scream 7. That's what I thought we were going to get at the end, or some type of Easter egg, something to look forward to. So, sitting in the theater, you know, and I could tell my friends are anxious, you know, they want to go, but I'm like, no, we got to stay for the credit scene. I'm totally bugging out. Everyone can tell, like, I'm fucking passionate about this. We get to the credit scene, and it's my girl Mindy with a quick 2-second scene that says, hey, not every movie needs a post-credit sequence. And then it goes to the real credits. And me personally, that was a slap in the face. I know what they were trying to do. It was extremely clever. I laughed after. I was pissed. I was like, what the fuck? But after that, I laughed about it. Yeah, they're funny. But I mean, like this, those, it's the little shit like that that you have to appreciate about this franchise. So I couldn't even be mad, you know? Very clever. Hats off to him, you know? I think that would cover everything I was kind of looking to talk about. Final rating and thoughts, though. My final rating, like I said, this isn't a perfect movie, but I am going to give it a 9.8, 9.9 out of 10. Like, this was everything I looked for. There were a couple, I wouldn't say there were expectations, but there were things that I thought, well, if that happens, that would be pretty fucking dope. And they didn't happen, but it was replaced with something that was probably 10 times better. I was not disappointed at this movie. Like, seriously, I had such a fun time. Seeing it in theaters is an experience in itself. And yeah, I genuinely cannot wait for Scream 7. Yeah, I don't know if I go any farther. I'm gonna keep going with this, and I want to make sure I don't make this too long. But yeah, Scream 6, what a banger, definitely. And yeah, I think that wraps up our review. Make sure to leave some comments in the comment section. I do want to hear your guys' theories. I want to hear discussions, thoughts, ratings. Go ahead and check out the video, check out the movie, and then go comment what you think about it. Like I said, I want to know what your thoughts were. I want to know what your theories are. Start a discussion down there in the comment section. Let's get it going. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and I thank y'all for tuning in. I thank y'all for the love and support, and I will be back soon with my next one.